Oh my. Oh, brother. What a psychopath looks like. Okay.
I never wanted to hurt my sister. I just wanted to protect her from. That's it. But if you want to hear how she died, I don't know.
Okay. Was she laying on the ground?
Yes, and
So you told her to lay down?
right, and she was fully conscious, and she was talking to me during it.
Is that blood on his pants? Is that blood on his pants?
If I tell you this now, I mean, you're recording this. I don't have to say it in court or anything, right?
I don't know that for sure.
I mean, I really don't want to talk about this that much.
18-year-old Keith Randulich made a short but harrowing call to 911 on May 22, 2009. When the dispatcher answered, Keith said simply, "Come over quick," and hung up. A few minutes later, he called back and this time said, "Get over here," before he once again put down the phone. Keith was urgently calling for help because his little sister lay dying in the basement. After calling, he stood looking out the windows of the home where he lived with his mother, stepfather, 2 brothers, and little sister, anxiously waiting for the emergency services to arrive. When he didn't see any flashing lights, he made a third call to 911, but this call was even more chilling than the previous 2. When the police arrived at 7:54 p.m., Keith was standing at the front door to greet them. He was covered in blood. It was all over his pants, socks, sweatshirt, as well as his face and hands. When police struggled to find the injured little girl, they asked Keith where she was, and he quickly told them, in the basement. Keith's 16-year-old brother had been playing video games upstairs in his room. He had no idea that a horrific incident had just occurred in the home. That is, until he saw the flashing lights from the police cars as they pulled up. He then came down and asked what was going on. Officers ordered both boys to get on the ground, and they were handcuffed and searched for weapons. Neither had any on them, but Keith told the police that it's in the room with her. The child, 4-year-old Sabrina Clement, was found lying on her back in a pool of blood on the basement floor, with wounds to her throat. The blood saturated into the carpet below her. A household steak knife was on the ground, lying between her legs and feet, covered in what appeared to be blood. She was wearing a multicolored shirt that was pulled up around her chest, with pink shorts and socks. The emergency responders checked for any signs of life, but they were far too late. The house was searched, and on the ground level, investigators also found 7 red stains on the kitchen floor, the sink, and the counter. The spots were already dry. They found a wall-mounted telephone covered in blood. As well, the blood droplets were on the carpet and stairs leading down to the basement. The 2 teen boys, Keith and his brother, were taken into custody to the Will County Sheriff's Office. Keith was quiet on the ride over, not speaking to any of the officers. At the station, Keith's brother was questioned first. Once officers determined he had no helpful knowledge about what happened, he was escorted from the station. But now, Keith was ready to talk, and no one was prepared for the chilling and disturbing story he was about to tell. Due to the unsubstantiated nature of some of the accusations seen in this interrogation, portions have been omitted and summarized. The following interrogation has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney and a licensed clinical psychologist.
The Will County Investigation Office, downtown Joliet here.
Yes.
You've been moved from the Mokina Police Department here. I have to ask you once again, did any police officers ever talk to you about the incident that happened today so far? Ask you any questions on what happened.
Okay, wait, yes, I forgot to mention this.
Okay.
Right when I went in the car the first time,
Okay.
not the police officer in that car, but another police officer just said, what was in your what was going through your blank mind?
Okay.
Right off the bat, Keith is cooperative with officers. He maintains eye contact and speaks clearly with them. His choice to not cuss in front of the officers could be a sign that he is compliant and feels a level of respect towards them.
But that's as much as...
That's all that was asked, so they didn't ask any particulars or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you need a water?
No.
No bathroom breaks?
No.
You're all good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay? Very good.
These initial gentle words and actions are done to build some level of trust and rapport with Keith in anticipation of the coming interrogation.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll be back in 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Although some dismiss body language analysis as pseudoscience, it's used by the FBI and CIA during interrogations. When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. These indicators can be signs of discomfort or uncertainty in what the individual is stating, rather than indicators of deception. It's extremely important to note that you cannot detect deception through body language analysis alone. The way he holds his arms around his body, like he's hugging himself, is a self-soothing technique in a protective position and could be an indication that Keith is uncomfortable, either with his current situation or with what has just occurred. He seems to be unintentionally trying to make himself look small or insignificant. This could be a defense mechanism of trying to appear innocent. If he is smaller and talks softly, it is hard to imagine he could commit a horrific crime. The officers leave Keith alone in the interrogation room for over 11 minutes. The entire time, he remains almost totally motionless, staring down at the floor or at the red stains covering his pants.
Hi, Keith. I know I introduced myself back at the station, but if you didn't remember, I'm Detective Rothan,
Right.
and I'm with the Mokina Police Department.
Yes.
If you want to throughout the interview, call me Jason if you want, or Jay.
Okay.
That's fine,
Alright.
okay? You like to be called Keith?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is Detective.
I'm Detective Trakey. I'm with the Sheriff's Office. That's why we came here.
Okay.
So, okay.
You go to Lincoln Way?
Yes.
Okay.
East.
East?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are you, a senior?
Yeah.
Getting ready to graduate?
Was.
When does school end?
The last day is like June 1st.
June 1st. Okay.
How you doing in school?
I was gonna graduate. I mean, I had all A's, 1C in English, but
Yeah. It's cool.
I was fine, you know.
The officers start out with small talk, trying to build a rapport and comfort level with Keith. These kinds of easy questions can get a suspect to feel more comfortable talking before the officers move on to the more important questions. Already, Keith is using past tense when describing how he was going to graduate.
Huh. You take any classes or sports or anything?
No, but
No.
I mean, yeah, I had a future, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't do this for no reason.
Wait, what?
Keith immediately acknowledges that he's done something without any denial. This shows that he's aware there will be consequences for his actions. Keith continues speaking in a respectful, clear, and cooperative manner.
I'm so
None of these behaviors typically align with psychopathy, although it's important to note that some psychopaths can present this way at first.
Well, we wanna talk to you about what occurred.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna read you your constitutional rights before we do that, okay?
Okay.
Keith takes responsibility for the incident right away. However, even though he may appear to be admitting some level of guilt, this is technically not an admission because there weren't enough specifics about the crime in his response or in the question he was asked.
So why don't we just do this, Keith? Why don't we just start? Did you have school today?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you just start with how your day went? When you got out of school, what you did? Why don't you just
Wait,
take us through your day?
after I went out of school or before?
No, when you left school. You got out of school at 2:45 or 2:30?
Right. Went home. Yeah.
The interrogators are establishing a timeline of his day. This sort of information is basic background, but it starts to help officers develop elements of the alleged crime: motive, opportunity, means, access, and so on.
I talked to my mom about moving out. She said that I could stay, but I mean, she said that I just told her that, what was it? I said that I wanted to move out and to a friend's house, but I didn't really want to do that.
It's only now that Keith starts to show signs that he's uncomfortable. Before, he was able to keep himself still, but as soon as he starts talking, he begins wringing his hands. He also looks down at his hands and hesitates, all which are signs of anxiety.
I got a firearm permit last week, and I wanted to buy a firearm, and she said I couldn't do that. So I was lying and saying I would move to a friend's house if she wouldn't let me buy it.
Keith emphasizes that he lied to his mother, and his tone indicates that this is not only something he is aware of, but something that is meaningful to him. This could be evidence that Keith is a rule follower, or maybe a bit rigid in his personal concept of right and wrong. He's an 18-year-old adult, so technically he's not lying to his mother when he threatens to move out. However, he considers this a lie, which could be an indication of a very strict adherence to what he believes is right and wrong. This will become very important later.
And I wanted to use this because I'm my little sister.
Keith alleges to the officers that he believed his 4-year-old sister was being assaulted by a family member. He claims that because he couldn't kill her abuser, he killed his half-sister instead in order to protect her. The allegations that Keith makes have never been proven.
What did I just hear? Hey.
And the police order to protect her. Couldn't kill her abuser, he killed his half-sister instead in order to protect her. The allegations that Keith makes have never been proven, and the police have not found any evidence.
Nah, bro, what am I listening to, bro? What am I listening to, bro? What am I listening to, bro? What am I listening to, bro?
Of the claims being true.
I would tell my parents, and they would never do anything about it. And they would say, like, don't snitch and things like that.
This is another piece of evidence which indicates that Keith has a rigidity and strict adherence to acting morally, or what he believes to be correctly.
So that happens.
So you confronted your parents about...
Multiple occasions for like the past 2 years.
In the third call Keith made to 911 that night, he told the dispatcher that he had murdered his sister with a knife. As soon as he answered, he told the dispatcher that he had murdered his sister with a knife. As soon as he answered the door to the responding emergency services, he told officers without hesitation, but in a soft voice, it was me. The blood covering much of his clothing already appeared to be dry by the time the police got to the home.
I killed my sister. He had nothing to do with it. He was in his room. I told him he was watching her because my parents were at his dance.
Wait, what happened?
He was watching her because my parents
Redacted.
were at his dance. He was watching her. I said I would watch her. So he went up to his room. I took her down to my room, which is the basement. And we just watched SpongeBob, and she said she wanted to paint with me. So I took out a knife. Yeah, it's very disturbing. I would never have did it. But I just wanted to protect my little sister from my...
Keith is very uncomfortable as he speaks. He struggles to describe killing his sister, becoming fidgety, and continues to wring his hands. His voice changes and becomes shaky and takes on an emotional tone. Though the officers remain quiet and do not indicate any judgment with their body language, in the hopes that Keith will continue giving them details about the crime, he struggles to make eye contact. That is, until he begins to justify his actions. He looks clearly at the officer in black when he says he had to do it to protect his sister. By making eye contact at this point, it could indicate that it matters to Keith that the officer understands his reasoning, or that this is the part of what he is saying that he feels sure about, and therefore can look up when he says it.
So did you guys ever start painting?
Painting?
You said she wanted to paint with
Right,
you.
no, I told her that she had to lie down, and I would paint with her. That's what happened when I took out the knife.
Did you have the knife downstairs already? Where was the
It
knife?
was right here.
You had it inside your hoodie?
Yes.
How long have you been carrying the knife around?
Brought it like 5 minutes before I asked her to let me watch her.
Oh my god.
Why did you want... How come you asked to let you watch her?
So that I could kill my sister.
When did you start thinking about that?
When my parents said that I couldn't buy my firearm, I knew that I couldn't kill her. But I never wanted to hurt my sister. I just wanted to protect her from my... That's it. But if you want to hear how she died, I don't know.
Was she laying on the ground?
Yes, and
So you told her to lay down?
right, and she was fully conscious, and she was talking to me during it. If I tell you this now, I mean, you're recording this, I don't have to say it in court or anything, right?
Though his body language, the fidgeting, shows that he's uncomfortable or anxious about what he's saying, Keith uses a rather flat and matter-of-fact tone when describing how he killed his sister. Yet his concern about having to speak publicly in court could be an indication of shame for his actions.
I don't know that for sure.
I mean, I really don't want to talk about this that much.
The autopsy would later reveal that the 40-pound little girl suffered from numerous and massive stab wounds to her neck. The disturbing reality of the crime is a stark contrast to the soft tone of voice Keith uses to describe it.
And he was upstairs.
Okay, he was watching TV with her in the living room first.
Okay.
Then I went in there and said, let me watch her. So he went upstairs to his room, then I took her downstairs to my room.
Did you have the knife at that point?
Here's what happened. I came up from my room. I did the dishes real quick. Then I just took a knife, put it in my hoodie right away. Then I walked right in there and said that.
So where did you get the knife?
Kitchen cabinet.
Oh, this guy's weird.
Did you have any conversation with her? You said that
Yes.
she was alert.
She was talking to me during it, and I was just trying to do it as quick as possible.
Shut up, bro.
But she was in a lot of pain.
Okay, could you? I know it's tough.
Yeah.
We'll get you through this.
How
Could you describe to me
are these officers just sitting there, like just walk?
how you did it?
Oh my god.
Let's back up a minute. Could you tell me what kind of knife it was?
It wasn't a butter knife. It had like edges to it.
Like a steak knife type?
Right.
What kind of handle?
Just brown. It was like big.
Did you say like it was metal?
How big would you say?
The handle or the
Yeah,
blade?
The whole knife.
Oh, the whole knife was maybe like this.
Okay. Was it one of those knives that you would find in your drawer with all your other forks and knives and spoons?
Yes, it was just like a steak knife. It wasn't anything like a weapon. Or
It is a
anything.
weapon.
This is a noteworthy phrase,
is
since
a weapon.
anything can be a weapon depending on how it's used. This sounds like some sort of psychological distancing from the means of the crime, as well as from the crime itself.
Wooden handle
Bro thinks he could talk his way out of this one.
or something, like a metal handle.
I think it was wooden.
Okay. And then you said you had her lay down on the ground.
I told her to do that.
And this was in
My room.
your room, which is
The
located?
basement.
The basement. Okay.
Did you tell her that you were going to do this?
No. I just said I love her, and then I took out the knife, and she smiled, and I made just a little cut of her neck, and I withdrew back because I was afraid, and then she screamed and grabbed her neck, and she said, "No, stop," but I just kept, I started doing it again, and then she started talking to me, and she was still conscious and said, "Why are you killing me?" So then I started on the right side. She didn't talk anymore, but she was still breathing and had her eyes open. So I just ran upstairs and called the police. Then when I came back down, it looked like she died.
Now he becomes very emotional and his attention darts around as he struggles to make eye contact, which is an indication that he may feel remorse. It could also show that he is shameful about what he's done or fears judgment from the officers. The officers maintain their calm and understanding tone. With a suspect who is timid like Keith appears to be, this is the approach most officers will use, as being aggressive and confrontational will likely make him shut down and less likely to talk.
When you ran upstairs, did you find your brother? Did your brother find you?
No, he was in his room, the living room. We had a family phone in the kitchen. So I went to the family phone. I dialed the police. I just said, "Come here." Hung it up. Went back downstairs, checked on her, and then went back up. I didn't hear any police cars, so I called again. I said, "Come here again." I hung it up. Then I looked outside for more. I was waiting. So then the police called back, so I picked it up. I said there was a murder, and then I was just explaining to them that I did it.
Where did you put the knife?
Well, it was right next to her.
You just dropped it on the ground, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Where were you when the police came?
I was waiting for them at the front door because the lady said, "Do you see the police outside?" I said, "No." So I hung up the phone and I walked to the front door, and then the police rang the doorbell. I opened the door, and then they just said, like, "Get down." They told my brother, who came downstairs because he saw the police from his room, he said, "What are they doing here?" They told him to get down too. And my brother was in shock because he said, what did you do to my baby? So,
How do you think he knew what happened?
he saw the blood, and at first he didn't know it was my sister. But, like, one of the police officers said, like, "Who died?" I said, "My sister." And he said, "Where's she at?" I said, "The basement." Then got hysterical, and he said, "What did you do to my sister?" or something. So.
Or something.
What was your sister? What was she wear?
What was she wearing? Just a t-shirt, pants. I can't really tell you the color or anything. I wasn't paying attention. After she died, though, I gave her a kiss and I said, "I'm sorry I had to do this, but I really love my sister."
Oh, brother.
When did you do that after you came back downstairs the
Right.
first time?
Yeah. I only went down one more time. Like, right after I called the police, I went back down, and that's when I did that. It looked like she was dead.
Psychopaths sometimes demonstrate this bizarre dichotomy where they will portray an image of themselves where they have the utmost morals and values and enjoy feeling superior to others as a result, but then they will commit horrific acts and then justify those acts. Keith has clearly justified his actions by saying that it was to protect his sister and that he apologized to her.
Could you just describe for me how you did it? I mean,
Like
when you say the
maniac.
side, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, were you behind her? You know,
No,
just
no.
kind of.
I was in front of her. Like, she was lying down, like, right there. I just was kneeling, and I just did it like that. Just to her neck, like, right here and here.
Did you kneel on top of her or on the side?
Right in front of her.
Right in front of her? So at first you thought you guys were playing around, or?
Yeah. I told her that we were gonna paint.
Keith doesn't appear to be distancing himself from the crime here. He even shows on his own body where he cut his sister's neck. The only real indication that he's uncomfortable is his nervous laugh.
Right when my mom told me that she wouldn't let me use any of my money to buy a firearm.
And that would have been when you first got home from school, around 3 o'clock, 3:30?
Like 3:30.
The officers are trying to establish if the crime was premeditated. Notice that Keith holds his chin as though he's deep in thought. Not only does he appear comfortable answering this question, but he also wants to get the exact time correct.
That's her name, Sabrina.
Up until today, when you had the discussion with your mom about the firearm,
Yeah.
you stated that you wanted the firearm to
Right, to shoot.
shoot.
And that was it.
This is the first time Keith mentioned his sister's name out loud. He may have been referring to her as my sister prior to this as a way to assert his relationship to her. If Keith is a psychopath, this phrasing could be an indication that he may have felt like he had ownership over Sabrina, which could work to justify his actions to himself. In contrast, he could also have been distancing himself from her and the crime by not actually using her name until now, after he's discussed killing her. Once he's used her name, you will see that he's more comfortable using it going forward.
Yeah, that was all I would have used it for.
So you never thought about killing Sabrina up until that point in time?
Never.
It wasn't until your mom said, no, you're not getting a firearm.
She said I had to, like, go out and work for it, but he was tormenting my sister.
Who's he?
Worse and worse every day.
Why did you choose her neck area?
I thought it'd be the fastest way to kill Sabrina. Just as quick as possible without as much pain.
Did you ever
Nah, bro was weird,
see this
bro.
anywhere? I mean,
You know, I don't think so. I mean, I've heard about it. Like, there was, like, people who strangled people. I didn't want to do that to her. But I mean, she was in an extreme amount of pain, though, I'll tell you that. She was screaming and crying and trying to fight me.
I can't watch this. This guy's a butt. He's a butt. He's a psychopath. He's stuck in the Matrix. He's stuck in the Matrix. I can't watch this. I can't watch this. He's stuck in the Matrix. He's a butt. Boy, no way, boy. He's a butt.
But she couldn't fight back, so...
Did you ever think at some point in time you could have stopped?
I did. Right after I cut her neck the first time, I made a little cut, and then I stopped. And then she grabbed her neck, but
Oh, brother.
I just kept going.
This dude is
Did you ever
weird,
do
bro.
any research or looking into
No, sir.
about doing anything like this
This
before
dude is
on
weird, bro.
the internet or any books or anything?
No.
This
Did
guy's a
you
certified
talk to my
weirdo.
parents at all? Or?
No,
Oh
no.
my
Okay.
god.
You alright?
Yeah.
No, bro, it's not alright.
Also, I just like to say real quick that my mom and my stepfather are pretty good people.
Keith's comments about his parents are a form of deflection, but it seems out of place since he's accepting blame for the crime.
Hanging in there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to drink it or not, but it's just water.
Alright, yeah, I know. Alright, thanks.
Alright, hang in there. We'll get you through this.
Alright.
Alright?
The interrogators left the room, leaving Keith alone for about 20 minutes. He remains almost motionless the entire time, once again holding himself with his arms around his waist. The fact that an officer returns with water for Keith is interesting, because he previously declined any. There may be a sense of shock and pity on the part of the investigators. The friendly gesture could also help to build rapport and trust with Keith. After the officer leaves the room again, Keith will be left sitting by himself for another 50 minutes.
Jeez.
This is interesting because often the police do not leave suspects sitting by themselves for long periods of time unless there is a purpose to it, such as their own need to regain emotional composure, to verify the suspect's statements, or as a tactic to unsettle the suspect or give them time to reflect on their own answers to questions. Often interrogators do not want to give the suspect too much time on their own because they may use it to concoct a story that they will then stick to. But in Keith's case, he appeared very truthful, forthcoming, and fully cooperative during the interrogation so far. Though he may have paused at times, he answered every question he was asked. Once again, Keith remains almost motionless for nearly an hour, barely shifting in his seat.
How you doing?
Alright, how are you?
You need any more water or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Bathroom?
Not right now.
Okay.
The interrogators return in order to clarify some of the details with Keith. They focus on trying to understand his motive and clarify his confession. Though a motive isn't something that must be proven in court, often a jury can struggle to imagine a suspect willingly choosing to kill someone as close to them as a sibling. Knowing Keith's motive will help a jury to imagine the reason the crime occurred.
Keith, we just want to go over a few more things with you, ask you a few more questions. We have interviewed and spoke to some other family members, so we have a better idea of what was going on
Yeah.
within your family. So
Keith begins to give the interrogators more details about the alleged assaults which he claims Sabrina suffered. He details specific instances where he began to believe that Sabrina was suffering. Once again, his strict personal moral code comes into play here. He appears to have felt compelled to do what he believed was right, even if it meant taking such extreme measures as to kill his own sister. But I think he doesn't consider his actions as extreme. He seems to have a laser focus on just making things right, that he is completely blinded to the fact that he is committing a murder. He seems to severely lack common sense in seeing how horrific his solution is. Keith reiterates his claim that he was trying to protect his sister by killing her.
No.
This is crucial as it appears to be his motive, or at least the motive he's stating. Whether or not that is actually the case is another thing. At this point, Keith has said twice that he is 99% sure an assault had occurred, but as he tells the story for the second time, he also clarifies that he isn't completely sure that they did take place. This is, of course, a contradiction. It appears that he believes his statement, but he wavers when he admits he doesn't have proof.
Did you consider Sabrina your sister and your
Yes.
blood?
Absolutely.
You never wanted to exclude her from the family?
Never.
Oh,
Did you ever have
brother.
any ill feelings or discontent about her being born because it was with a different father?
I don't know why my mom said that. Okay.
Keith,
The investigators are not necessarily discounting Keith's motive of protecting the victim from abuse, but from a rational perspective, it does not make sense. They are fishing for other motives, more logical ones that might help make sense of the crime. The interrogators offer him other motives, ones that they seem to think make more sense, such as resenting his little sister being born, but Keith is adamant that this is untrue. On the surface, it appears that Keith had genuine familial affection for his little sister, which makes this all the more unusual in terms of motive.
Sabrina was always part of my family.
the problem I have,
Yeah.
that we both have, is how could you be protecting Sabrina by doing what happened to her?
Facts.
Doing that. I mean, it's
Facts.
I'm not proud of that. There's no
Bro.
excuse for it.
Bro,
I knew what I
shut
was
up,
doing.
Bro. Shut up, bro.
It was premeditated, you could say.
So, bro, didn't he just like snitch on himself? Oh my god.
Looking back
I
at
just want to
this,
stop you real quick. When you say premeditated, what do you mean it can be premeditated?
like the legal definition thought out, I thought about it like at 3:30. I did it at like a couple hours later, so I was not temporary insanity. But
The fact that Keith speaks clearly and with understanding about his crime being premeditated, and that the act was not the result of temporary insanity, show that he is intelligent and indicates that he likely did some research before the murder, looking into what his consequences would be.
No, but what would put you in this? What at 3:30 made you start thinking that you wanted to do this to her? I mean,
okay,
something must have happened, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Because Keith, you're not telling us the whole story.
all right, I told you what happened. My
But
mom
you're not
said I
telling us the
can't.
whole truth.
She said I couldn't buy a firearm. I wasn't going to get this firearm and just kill right away. I was never going to do that. That was just an option I wanted to have in case anything ever happened where he got out of control with my sister. But she said, there's no way you're getting this. And he's bigger than me, he's taller than me, he's a lot stronger than me. I would rather have got Kristen out of the way than my sister, to be honest.
But you
What?
didn't, and you got rid of your only sister.
Right. And she was the person I loved the most in that family. She was my best friend.
Why did you love her the most?
Bro, it's just.
Okay, it's not that I didn't like specifically love my parents, it's just that me and her were always close. We spent more time together than anyone else.
Bro, it's just
Well, I mean,
bro.
she spent the most time with her mom, but I spent the most time with her than anyone else.
The interrogators begin putting more pressure on Keith and implying that he is intentionally lying to them, or not being honest to himself about his motive. Because the motive doesn't make sense, the investigators feel they must probe for a motive that does. The problem is that it looks like both are discounting the possibility that Keith's reasons may be internally consistent to himself, even if externally they are wholly unreasonable and illogical.
You seem like a good kid,
Mhm.
and I'm believing a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not believing everything.
Okay. I mean, if you have something you want me to clarify, I will.
Well, here's what I don't want to happen. I mean, obviously there's a death here.
Yeah.
Your sister is gone.
I know.
Tomorrow, or whenever, we go through a process where we just determine the cause of death.
Mhm.
And when we do that, it's a full examination of a body.
Yeah. It's an autopsy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my concern is that, are we going to discover anything else that could have happened
Yeah.
where maybe it may have happened and Sabrina said no, and that's why this whole thing happened, because Sabrina's growing up now?
Wait, she said no to what?
That's why I'm just asking. I mean, did anything take place where Sabrina was fighting with you and said no?
Absolutely not. She was completely innocent. I saw her, we were watching SpongeBob, she said, let's paint. So, I just said lie down, and that's when she's not to blame for this.
I wouldn't say she's to blame for this. I mean, that's not what I'm trying to figure out.
You're saying, like, did she, like, instigate me or anything?
Did she instigate you, or did you maybe get excited and get aggressive to her or anything?
No, no, I was absolutely not like that, sir.
Have you ever?
No. Like I said, I think I might have, at least there was that one time for sure, but I'm not like a child. I don't like little children.
Even when the interrogator is probing to see if Keith ever had an inappropriate relationship with his little sister, it takes him a while to understand the implication. He still refers to the officer as Sir, remaining both calm and respectful.
Keith, you made numerous statements of how beautiful Sabrina was and
Yeah.
how much you loved her, and she was
Right.
How could you hurt something so beautiful? What would?
Yes.
What could make you do that?
You can see that one of the interrogator's body language has changed. He's no longer sitting back with his chest open, but is hunched over, and he frequently rubs his forehead and face. This could be because he's feeling frustrated that he can't seem to get the answers he's looking for from Keith. The officer is no longer trying to establish a rapport or sense of trust with Keith, but his tone remains calm, despite outward signs that he may be frustrated.
Abuse of her was getting worse and worse. Like I said, my original plan was, if he got out of line, I would just take care of him, and then I'd be here just about a 14-year-old instead of a 4-year-old. I didn't want to do that.
But Keith, you know right from wrong.
Yes, I do.
I mean, you're a man, right?
Yeah.
The interrogators have consistently been implying or outright saying that there is something more here, a missing piece that can potentially explain more about what compelled Keith to commit this murder.
Okay, what would you do?
If you're so mad at for what he's doing,
Call the
you turn around
police.
and do something worse than what you was doing.
Right?
If it was sexual, I disagree with that.
Bro. If some sexual harassment or something is going on with the family, there is the police to call. There's other lines to call. You don't go kill the person that is happening to protect them. That makes no sense. Bro, it's weird. He's a bot. He's been eating chicken Popeye sandwiches. Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
I'm not saying but what you did tonight. I mean, it's...
Well, it took about 4 minutes, but she's not in any more pain anymore. She's not like every day having someone torment her.
He seems to have rationalized that killing her in 4 minutes is better than her continuing to suffer. This is another example of how he has very rigid thinking and very strict ideals of right and wrong.
Did you ever talk to a school counselor
About what?
about
Your counselors always talk to you every year.
Okay, about maybe or going to the police and telling them what was going on at home, or
There's
there's
other
options of
bro.
when
There's other outlets, bro.
abuse taking place.
Right.
I mean, there's Department of DCFS, Department of Child Family Services. I mean, there's. Did you ever think about any of those things?
Nope.
I've told my parents, and they just like laughed at me, and they said, "Don't be a snitch," and whatever. I didn't have the DCFS number.
Bro, you can
Keith
just Google it. You can just Google it, bro.
Flex here, once again.
DCFS, bro. You can just Google it, bro. Bro, look. Boom. Right there. Directions. Click it. Website. They have a whole website. Boom. Phone number right here. Phone number right here. Phone number right here, bro. Bro, it's like, oh my God.
In rationalizing his decision.
I'm not a parent, so I really wouldn't know about that stuff.
Am I a parent? No. Am I a parent? No. I just Googled it and found their number. Bro, it's a bot. He's an NPC. He is eating chicken Popeye sandwiches. Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
I mean, I've heard about it, but I mean, I didn't remember any of it at that time.
I just want to make sure that we're not leaving anything out because,
Yeah.
like I said before, we want to put this behind us and move on.
Okay.
Deal with what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
but I'm concerned that maybe there is still more that we haven't talked about and we haven't figured out. And I just want to make sure that, I mean, and if you feel fine and you don't want to talk about it, that's none of my business then, none of our business. But I think there's more there that we need to get out and clarify, because I can tell. Just, I mean, I don't know you.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I just met you today, but
He's been eating the chicken Popeye sandwiches. The chicken Popeye sandwich. He's a butt. He's a butt.
Don't seem like you're comfortable. Like there's something more that maybe you don't trust us to talk about yet.
I completely trust you.
But how you doing, Master 14? How you doing?
I trust the police. That's why I called them. I have nothing to hide. I didn't change my clothes and hide them.
No.
I didn't frame anyone. I admitted it right away.
Keith is a complex case. He's been forthcoming and cooperative the entire interrogation, and even before when he immediately called the police after killing his sister. But it could be said that he likely has antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic features, since he felt he had the right to make such a horrible decision and end the life of his sister. However, there are really no observable indications of significant antisocial or narcissistic traits during his interrogation. There are no indications of a God complex, nor any overt evidence that he has a lack of remorse. Keith doesn't appear to be enjoying the attention he's receiving from committing the murder, and
Doing good, chilling. I like that. How was your day? You feel what I'm saying? We watching what a psychopath looks like, bro. I'm about to put this on YouTube, so say hi to YouTube also. Yes.
being involved in the interrogation as many psychopaths do.
I'm just trying to get this, over with. Whatever my punishment is, it is. I'm fine with that. I have nothing to hide.
Bro, what are you talking about, bro?
I mean, if you have any more questions, so I'll discuss them with you, but I'm not hiding anything.
Okay.
Was there anything that you were afraid Sabrina could say about you? Were you
No,
threatened by anything?
I told you, I had no relationship with my little sister.
Here he reverts back to referring to Sabrina as my little sister, perhaps feeling the need to once again distance himself from using her.
He's a bot! Oh my... He's a bot! When are they gonna understand? He's an NPC. He's a non-playable character. Haven't you noticed every time children go missing, there's chicken Popeye sandwiches? He's a bot! How do you kill your own little sister? How? What goes through your head? What goes through your head for you to be like, yeah, there is other outlets. You can go to a counselor, call the police. You can call 911. Yeah, that number, 911. He's a bot. He's goofy.
Name. As you'll see, the interrogators are still fishing for a motive that makes more sense to them. They cannot seem to accept his irrational explanation that killing his sister was a way to protect her.
I'm not talking.
That's so stupid, bro.
She know about something, or
Oh, no, she did not. Only thing was, when I pulled out the knife, I knew right then that I had to kill my little sister, because she saw it.
Oh,
And
brother.
there was no going back at that point.
Oh, brother.
Keith mentioned that once Sabrina saw the knife, he knew there was no turning back, that he had to kill her, because she knew his intentions at that point. This is strange, because he turned himself in and confessed to her murder, so why would he care that she would have maybe seen the knife and suspected he planned to harm her?
Me and my mom had a fight about the firearm thing, so she would not leave me in charge. She wasn't just friendly towards me, like, she brought me dinner, but she wouldn't leave me in charge, like, with Sabrina at that time.
how'd that make you feel?
Bro, I hate when he does that little goofy, What's good, Gilly? What's good, Gilly? Yes, sir, Michael Jackson Popcorn. How was your stream? Gilly? How was your stream? Yes, sir.
She asked me originally last week, she's like, you want to babysit for $650, Sabrina? I said, yeah, I'll babysit her for that.
This is what a psychopath looks like. So let me tell you the story. Let me sum it up real quick in like 2 seconds. So, This guy's a bot. W12R, yes, that's what I like to see. But this guy's a bot. All you have to know, he killed his little sister because he thought she was getting abused. Does that correlate? And bro, hold on. Bro is defending. He's a bot. He's a bot. Bro is defending himself saying that, oh, it's better that she died this way than to suffer the rest of her life. He's a bot. He's a bot. He's a bot. What is he talking about? That doesn't make any type of sense. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't make no sense. That doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying, bro. He's a bot. Oh my days. He's trying to justify it saying, oh, it's better that I killed her than she's being abused. But there's DCSF that you can find the number 2. There's the police that you can call. There's school guidance counselors that you. Oh my days, bro. I don't know, bro.
That day, then we got in a fight, and then she just said it's gonna be it.
He's goofy.
That had nothing to do with why I did what I did, though.
He's so goofy. Look at his pants. That's blood. Like, this happened the same day. Why not kill the abuser? That's what I'm saying. But this is the same day. Look at the blood on his pants.
The reason she didn't let me babysit was because...
Apparently he didn't. So, like, okay. Also, he talked to his mom like, yo, let me get a gun real quick. His mom was like, no. He was like, dang. Because apparently the abuser was bigger than him. He's like, dang, I can't kill the abuser now. Now I have to kill my sister. What? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh, man. That makes no sense, bro.
Because me and her had a fight.
How did that make you feel? That you weren't babysitting?
Well, I mean, okay, you have to understand this, though. She was in my room before that, though. Like, before they left, when she was getting them. She got us Taco Bell.
You're confused? I'm confused, bro.
Before they left, she was in my room, like, playing with me and stuff, so it wasn't like I couldn't see her, you know. My mom knew that we were playing together and whatnot, so...
But you earlier you said you first thought about doing this at 3:30.
Yeah, around there, yeah.
So then she came down into your room?
Yeah.
Late after that? And
right.
You played with her?
Yeah.
The implied motive that maybe Keith killed Sabrina to get a sort of revenge against his mother for not being allowed to babysit is a weak motive, but it's one that fits better into the police's understanding of a motive.
That was around like maybe 4 to 5, like 4:30 to 5 something.
So if you already at 3:30 had it set in your mind that you were going to do this, how come you didn't do it
at that time?
Because my mom was coming home and my stepfather was still home, so I didn't want one of them to stop me before I finished it.
What?
I knew that once I started, like, Brina would be horribly disfigured and have, like, breathing problems the rest of her life if she didn't, like, die at that time, so.
It's clear that Keith put some thought into the crime and its possible outcomes.
Were you worried about being home?
No. I knew he'd just go in his room. I mean, he had nothing to do with it, but...
Why did you think he would just go in his room?
He listens to music, that's his thing. He didn't know anything, though, you know?
This is sick, bro. This guy's sick.
What would you say if he told us otherwise?
You could ask him, but he's not gonna... I don't know what he would say, because all I know is the truth. He didn't know I had a knife right here when I asked him to let me watch Brina. You could interview him. I never talked to him. I think I'm gonna cut Brina's throat today. I never said that to him. Or anyone.
He's weird and he's sick.
I didn't even know about it till...
On me, he's weird and sick, bro. Oh my gosh,
3:30.
I don't know how the officers are keeping their cool. Like, dude like me, I am yelling. I'm like, bro, your own sister, bro. Like, not even... Goofy ass. Goofy all.
So before 3:30 today, it never crossed your mind that you wanted to end Sabrina's life, harm her in any way?
So like these are like the detectives. So like, you know, after someone gets caught, an interrogation's happening. It's not an interview, it's an interrogation. So like they're like trying to figure out what he did and why it happened. Cause he already admitted that he killed her. So what further questioning needs to be happening? I don't get it. But it's, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is, bro.
Thinking if I had to do it to anyone, I would have to do it to
Why
Bro's
do
a
it at all?
bozo, bro. He's a
because
bozo.
could not be stopped. His mom spoils him.
But if he was black, on me. Nah, if he was black, he'd be shot at his crib. But anyways, yeah, let's keep on watching.
And he has a sugar problem where he can't control himself when he has any amount of sugar.
Wouldn't you worry about, you said he was getting bigger or stronger?
Yeah, well, he was bigger and stronger than me. I wasn't worried about it. It's just that's why I didn't attack him with a knife, because I couldn't. He's a lot stronger than me.
Keith appears to not want to risk himself because he says that the alleged assailant is bigger and stronger than him, which is why he needed the firearm. It could also mean that he knew the person would be able to retaliate against him if he did anything. Keith was able to logically understand this and therefore refrain from targeting the alleged assailant in order to actually protect himself from harm. However, he was willing to sacrifice Sabrina because he still felt compelled to right the wrong.
And you knew your parents were going out this evening, so that's why.
Yes. Well, okay. Like I said, I knew that they were going out,
Man's a pussy, fam. Man's a pussy.
but I only thought of that plan at 3:30.
Keith, did you ever have anybody try to take advantage of you at any time when you were little?
Oh, no, sir.
I just
Yeah,
want
I
to make
know.
sure.
Okay.
I can't crawl into your mind. He can't crawl into your mind. But we just want to make sure that we get it. You know, that we can understand.
Sure.
We have a job.
Why not fight the abuser or stab? So I don't know. His justification was like, oh, he's bigger than me. So what? You could have, if he went to fight or stab the abuser, that'd make way more sense than him killing his 4-year-old sister. He can justify himself targeting, even though it's still killing someone and that's still wrong. But he can justify that. It'd make more sense logically in our society than him killing his little sister. That makes no sense. So what? I know, on guard. So what? He's bigger than you. Just, bro, throw hands, throw 30s, bro. Like, if that's my sister, bro, chat. If that's my sister, it's me. It's me. What's good? Yeah. That was my sister? Yeah. Yeah.
What to do.
I know.
And you know, there's going to be a lot of questions asked of us.
Right.
Slump them indeed.
So you gotta be able to bring closure to your
Yeah.
brothers, to your mom and dad.
I understand.
Do you know what closure means?
Comfort, condolences, reason,
Try to help them understand why.
yes. Well, I didn't want to do it, but the main reason why I did it was just because he was getting worse and worse as the days went by.
How does he know?
How do you feel now that you did it and it's over?
How does he know? That makes no
I
sense.
feel that if I could go back, I would try and do it to Christian, not her. Maybe I would get a job and work so I could just take care of Christian instead of my little sister. I mean, it was a waste of life. If I could have went to the police and proved anything about Christian, I definitely would have did that. But I didn't have any proof.
Pretty much cover everything then?
Yeah.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
you covered everything?
Yeah.
Look at
I
the way
just
he's
feel like
sitting.
when I'm talking to you, you don't want to like look at me like.
I'm just
You know what sometimes that means when people don't want to look at you when they're talking to you.
right.
Sometimes it means that they're not telling you everything.
I mean, I just want to get out of these pants, so you know.
Okay, we'll get you out of this. Well, you want more water?
No, well. All right. Yes, please.
Okay. Get you another cup.
So am I staying here tonight then? And,
Well, we're gonna take a quick break real quick and we'll be back in.
oh, okay.
Give you some water. and
We're gonna work
we'll,
on the close thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
we're gonna
Work on
get
it.
I'll
you
come
out of it.
back.
Yeah.
Anything else you need?
No, just the clothes.
Alright. Sit tight. I'll get you some more water. Right?
All right, thanks.
All right.
An officer and an evidence technician will now come to photograph Keith and collect all of his clothing. This is standard procedure. The soiled evidence will be placed in paper bags prior to analysis.
All right, Keith, I've got some clothing for you to wear, okay, because we need to take the clothing that you have on, okay? We're going to do it on the offshoot of camera, because you have to strip down
Yeah.
with everything that you have and give it to our evidence technician, and then we'll go ahead and we got clothes for you to put on,
All right.
okay?
Throughout the interrogation, Keith maintains his story without deviating. Nothing about this case makes sense, though in the final disposition, it appears that the story Keith tells is the truthful one. The next day, Keith's mother and his stepfather were brought in for a short interview. At 9:10 p.m. the previous night, while Keith was in custody, they, along with their youngest son, had returned to their home to find a crime scene. The investigators at the scene told them what had happened and that both of their other sons were in custody. During their brief interview, Keith's stepfather told police that he had been acting strangely lately, but that he was a quiet kid who mostly kept to himself and didn't have a lot of friends. However, he was certain everyone got along okay in the family except for a few normal arguments. In contrast, Keith's mother, Ann Clement, had a very different story to tell. Keep in mind that they just learned the day before that their young daughter had been killed by their son. What she said was revealed in police documents, which state that this is not verbatim. She claimed that Keith actually didn't get along with or like anyone in the family except for Sabrina, and was often ungrateful, disrespectful, and said hurtful things to his family members. There were even a few incidents of physical violence between Keith and his mother, and sometimes with one of his brothers. Before they left the sheriff's office, she also made it clear that she never saw any evidence of abuse or assault. After the interrogation, investigators took a closer look at the home. They found what was described as disturbing writings and journal entries created by a family member. Most appeared to be stories or song lyrics, and eerily some referenced violent imagery and a child being killed by having their throat cut.
Was
Is
that a bottle with pee inside of it? Oh no.
violent imagery and a child being killed by having their throat cut. One read, "I left another body in the street, choked, her clothes blood-soaked, and the attack was unprovoked. I'm the reincarnation of Elizabeth Bathory. There ain't 1 inch in my house that ain't gory. Mutilating and bathing in the blood of female preteens and babies, the blood of the innocent shall grant me immortality." While another read, "I enjoy it when someone I'm about to kill screams and cries." The police concluded that Keith hadn't written the notes, nor had the family member who Keith accused of assaulting Sabrina. The family member who wrote the journal entries said they were lyrics to Eminem songs, and it was determined that they were unrelated to the crime. Keith was eventually determined to be psychologically fit to stand trial.
Look at this bozo. Look at this bozo. And that's weird. That's a weird coincidence that the lyrics kind of match up with his story. I ain't gonna lie. But anyways, look at this bozo. This bot.
The psychiatrist found in their report that Keith has a personality disorder, but it didn't specify what disorder. Keith ended up entering a blind plea of guilty to first-degree murder for the slaying of his 4-year-old sister, Sabrina Clement. A blind plea is where a suspect pleads guilty in court before any agreement is in place. It's called a blind plea because there are no guarantees, and the sentence is all up to the judge. In 2011, none of Keith's family members or friends attended his sentencing. Though he was just as soft-spoken as he had been earlier, Keith spoke directly to the judge and once again kept to the same story that he told officers during his interrogation. He also claimed that the state attorney shouldn't, quote, even be allowed to judge him because they didn't grow up in a situation similar to his own. The prosecutors had requested a life sentence or a 60 to 100-year term. That way, Keith would be in prison for the rest of his life. However, in April 2011, he was sentenced to 40 years of straight time in prison, meaning that he must serve the 40 years and will not receive a reduction in his sentence for good behavior. Keith Randulich is currently at the Pontiac Correctional Center. His projected parole date is May 21st.
He didn't get life? Just 40 years? He didn't get life? Just 40 years? Oh my... Oh, brother.
2049. He will be 58 years old by the time he is released.
Oh my gosh, bro. Let's read some of the comments. He didn't get life? How anyone could do this to a child, let alone their own sister's horror on me. This may be the only case that I ever listened to that has genuinely made me nauseous on me. It's such a conflicting stance to know that he may have actually thought he was helping her escape the abuse, while also knowing that he inflicted something much worse onto her. There's definitely a mental issue at play here, and I only hope that the other brother finds some peace through all this, because this is something devastating trauma. That's what I'm saying, bro. 2049 is crazy. I'll be 48, bro. Excuse me. Imagine if sister was a demon. What do you mean by that? Imagine if his sister was it. I can't imagine how mentally damaging it was for the police officers, brothers, and paramedics to see such a horrific crime scene. The poor innocent little girl. My heart breaks for all involved. This kid obviously had some kind of psychotic break to do what he did. It's sickening and disturbing what humans are capable of. But he's fighting demons right now, bro. She's definitely haunting him right now as we speak, bro. Like, that's crazy. What's his name again? I low-key want to see what he's doing. Like, what's his name? Keith? This weird-ass little jit, bro. Bro, look at him, bro. Look at him, bro. Look at this ugly clown. Look at this clown, bro. I don't want to look at his face, bro. This was in 2009. This is in 2009. Nah, 40 years is not enough, bro. 40 years is not enough, bro. He needs to be there for life, bro.